Hello and welcome, I'm Misstical, this is Misstical Gaming and this is Ezareth. So this is the new Cultist fighter. He looks fantastic, he really does look really good, I love it. Okay, love the way he looks. I think the design team have done really well with him. Love the wings, love the sword. I mean, he just looks big and aggressive. He looks like a monster, okay, absolutely fantastic. He does AoE magic damage, he does ally buffing, and then he does some strong CC as well. That's what they've got him classified as, but we will go through and look at his skulls. Have a look at him. Do love the wings, they look all tattered and a bit war-torn, like he's been in a couple of fights. His tail moves as well. I think this is really good, and it doesn't sort of cut through things like they do sometimes. Just really good design. Now, a quick one about the video. The video is going to be about how his skills work and how that actually happens and what goes on when he's using his skills. Okay, so we are going to have him, we've got him fully leveled up to level 60. We've got him fully promoted up. We haven't got any gear on him because we probably won't need it. Skills aren't done, and in some places will be. His awakenings aren't done, and he doesn't have an artifact on. Okay, so that's how he looks, but we will go over his skills and see actually what happens when you're using him. Let's go in and have a look how his skills actually work and what it means when they do stuff. Okay, he specializes in draining life force from the weak and converting it into dark spores to aid the caster in battle. When deployed, enters world destroyer mode and he gains 2 stacks of dark spores. Right, that is a lot to take through. So dark spores stacks up to 5 times. Carrying it grants immunity to most debuffs. It doesn't say which ones it doesn't grant immunity to, just most of them you are immune to. So we're going to have a quick look at Matrix. Okay, we'll just start off here and have a quick look at how he does here. Hello. Chuck a tank down, chuck a healer down to keep everyone alive, and then we're going to wait. We'll wait for the boss to do his attacks, and then we'll be able to see what happens. Right, so we can place him down just as the mobs come out, or just as the boss starts to do his attack. There's the boss's attack. There's him placed down. There's a quick note of what dark spores does, and then we can see there's the annihilating. Boom, there's the blow, and we can see we have got the debuff on our tank, no debuff on our new superhero. Okay, there we go. Force strike will come down, that will hit the tank, and now we can see Ezareth hasn't got any dark spores. Okay, stacks up to 5 times. Carrying it grants immunity to most debuffs. No dark spores. There we go. We can have a look. We can now see we've got the debuff on ourselves. Okay, so there we go. We know that first part of dark spores does actually work. All right, so there we are. First check done. That's how dark spores work, or that's what they do, or one of the things they do. Okay, they do a couple of other things, but I do like the way that you can openly see it quite out in the open. I think that's quite nice. Right, I should be nicely out of the way here. We're just going to have a look at the old guild boss, and we're going to have a look at his ultimate and the 2 modes that he's got. So he's got the Devourer mode and he's got the Destroyer mode. Okay, so when we first put him down, as we first saw in the talent, it tells us quite blatantly he enters when deployed World Destroyer mode and gains 2 stacks of dark spawn. We can see the 2 stacks of dark spawn there, and he's going to use them up for us. Okay, so that's the first thing he does. As soon as you place him down, he enters World Destroyer mode. World focus on combat. If carrying at least 1 stack of dark spawn, fine. He starts with 2, consumes 1 stack, deals 430% AoE damage to up to 10 enemies in a large area ahead. We'll come back to that large area ahead later on. This effect has a 5-second cooldown. Now, a lot to get through there, so we would do it in little bits. There is the big attack. He has used up, as we can see, he's used up 1 dark spawn, and he went a long way in front of him. That has a 5-second cooldown. Now, Dinner Bell is his passive. World Destroyer mode. Special attack. Inflicts vulnerability magic damage. We can see up there we've got vulnerability magic damage on the target because we've already used one. Okay, and executes enemies within with HP below 20%. Execute takes no effect on elites and bosses. Fine. We can get the execute threshold up by 10%, so we can get that up to 30, and we can get the vulnerability magic damage from 15% all the way up to 20%, okay, or 25%, sorry. Now that goes on for 8 seconds. but his ability cooldown is on a 5-second cooldown. So you've got this sort of 3 seconds of spare time. See there? Cooldown for the vulnerability is 8 seconds. Now bear in mind, Valise, who he's partnered with in the upcoming event, she does magic resistance reduction, so they pair very well together. Both of those debuffs can go on at the same time. Okay, so nice for you to know. Now that's on, we've got 15%, but we will get a 20% on there. There we go. There's his leap forward. That's the dinner time. And there we go. We are now out of dark spores. So we now cannot do this ability again. We've got 8 seconds here. That's now run out pretty much. There it is, gone. That's 8 seconds. And this is on a 5-second cooldown, this special ability. All right. So you're not going to get it off, or you cannot do that passive if you have 0 dark spawns. All right. Now, how do we get dark spawns? What we do is we switch over from destroyer mode to the world devourer mode, and we do that by the use of our ultimate. Now, as you can see, our ultimate is only around at 90% at the moment. We haven't even got it up to 100% yet. It's 500 rage, and you only start with 50. If you're not using skill crystals, and you should max him out absolutely, then you are going to want your dust to land here. Otherwise he becomes much less usable realistically. You need this down by the 450 so you can start swapping them around as you need to. Okay, it's no good hanging around this long without an ability to actually absorb any dark spores. Okay, so make sure you get that done as soon as you can, and that way you've got the ability to swap him over. And then when we swap him over to World Devourer mode, then we have the chance to get dark spores. So there we go. We can now see underneath those wings, he's now got a purple color. So when he's red, he's in destroyer mode. When he's that purple color, he's in devouring mode. Okay, so the two modes have a mildly different look. Now, World Devourer mode of focused energy. When dark spores are not at full stacks, we are not, we have 0. He devours 1 allied summon in basic attack range, or 1 enemy below 50% health, ineffective against special allied summons or elite bosses, or elites and boss enemies. Okay, so all of that's normal. Restores the caster's HP 25% and gains 1 stack of dark spore after devouring an allied summon. Additionally gains another 1 stack of dark spores, so he can gain 2, and takes 2 seconds to trigger again. So if he takes an allied summon, he would get 2 dark spores and he would trigger again in 2 seconds time. If he doesn't devour a summon but relies on actually hitting everyone else and then devouring them because they're below HP, and he devours them that way, then he takes 10 seconds to trigger that effect again. Okay, so there are sort of 2 abilities on how he can get dark spores wrapped up in the one sort of mode, for want of a better description. So that's mode done. Now, like he was in Destroyer mode had the Dinner Bell, which was like a passive that was attached to the Destroyer mode. When he's in Devour mode, we've got Insatiable Maw. When carrying dark spores, increases attack and magic reduction, or sorry, damage reduction by 10%. So he's got this damage reduction if he's got dark spore on. That's a little sentence just chucked in the start. But when triggering World Devourer mode effect, it was 130% AoE to up to 8 enemies. Not when you hit the ultimate, it's when there is someone who's either low on HP that he's about to execute, and that will come around every 10 seconds, or when there is a summoned creature there that he's going to schnaffle, okay, or devour, and he will trigger that every 2 seconds. Then he will do this ability. If neither of those 2 things are happening, then he will not trigger this ability. Okay, inflicts a stun, again that won't happen. If the devoured target has an allied summon, restores 5% rage to its owner, so that's the owner will get a rage boost, so they can do more summons more quickly. Okay, and if they're a cursed faction, cultist faction, then they get 10% rage back. But you can increase the damage, and you can increase the attack and the damage reduction as well that you get from this. If you don't have either of those abilities, this is why he's not a lot of good on single target or bosses or anything like that. don't use him here. It's terrible for him, okay? We have no way to get any dark spores back. And with no way to get them back, there's no way to use them. And if you can't use them, you can't do your passive. And if you can't do your passives on either of them, then you don't get anywhere, okay? So do not use him on single target, particularly if you haven't got summons to devour, okay? Now, as a lord, though, okay, now increases faction team members' attributes by 15%. That's what they all do. They all do that. All the lords get that ability straight off the bat, and the one without the CC as well, okay? So all the lords get that. Now, let's remove our lords out of the equation for a bit, okay? So we'll get rid of Demi, we'll get rid of him, there we go. We use Malvira. She's up for grabs as well. She's a great hero, but I would rather have Valise because I've already got Malvira, and I quite like Valise, and I like the way she works. I think it's quite fun. So let's put Malvira down. Boom, there she goes down. And then we can have a look at the damage we do, and we can see how much we're actually doing just as a straight champion hitting the boss, okay? Now, there we go. We do 3,311 points of damage. Swap her over, and now if I put Denny up there and have a look at Denny, now when Denny's in there, we get all this 15% additional damage type stuff, okay? That's what they all get. So 15% to our basic attributes, sorry, not damage. Let's clarify that. Now, I'm going to place them down. We should see more than 3,311 points of damage. We should get a boost to our damage. Okay, and we can see this coming up. Let's pause it there, 4,024. So we've got a boost on our damage. Absolutely great. We would expect to have that. Now, freezing and CC effects, they all get that. That's absolutely fine. And now if I come down to Denny, she gets 5% for each enemy in their initial basic attack range up to 35%. So you've got to have enemies within the initial basic attack range, but it will go up to 35%. Okay, it's a little, you're not guaranteed. If there's a mass going on, then you're fine. Morrigan, she gets an increase of faction team members AoE by 25%. That is only AoE damage. Okay, whereas our new lord, he's got a lot going on, so he increases team members damage by 25% straight away. So straight off the way, he's better than Morrigan. He's better than Denny if you have less than 5 enemies within your initial attack range. Let's go and try that. I think that's probably makes him better as a lord. If you've got him, use him as a lord because he's automatically better than everyone else. But we will quickly jump in and try this out. There we go. We can see a damage coming up. There we go. We have got 4,795. So he gets that 25% damage. Okay. Now, if we do the latter part of that, where on the battlefield, ally summon dies, increases faction team members by 5% for 15 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. Right. Let's go and see if we can get some of that to trigger as well. So we're going to put him in this time, but we're going to use Ezareth this time, and we'll put Ezareth down, and that way we've got lots of summons that are going to die for us straight away, particularly as Ezareth is at level 1 and has no gear on, so they will die quite quickly for us, okay? Now, jumping into the fight this time, we should be able to put him, but I have got to put him down as well, okay? So it gets a bit trickier to see the damage that we're actually looking for. I'll wait for the boss to do the swipe on platform units. There we go. Now put Ezareth down. There we are. Ezareth can go down. There's his summons, and they will die in short order. Not a major issue. There we go. We're all dead. Now let's slow this. There's his attack there for 6,000. Here is my 5,175. That is the bulk of his abilities gone over. Now there is a crazy little thing about him though. Have a look at this. So I just moved myself out of the way. Boom, there. When World Devourer mode, special attack is triggered. Increases AoE damage by 15%. But the hero and all allied mages on the field for 8 seconds. Okay. Have a look. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Have a little look at this. Right, so here we are, stage 19, okay, gear raid 1. We're going to have a quick look at Ingrid and him as well. So we're going to put down our Ingrid. She's going to go up there, and we will be going across. No one's got any gear on, so don't expect big numbers, okay, but we are expecting a nice boost to her damage, all right, just for having him there and just for him using is essentially his normal attack. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So here we go. There's Ingrid down ready to go. Yes, we've got pod on, but it shouldn't be a major issue when we put this down. Right, so there she goes. She done 659 points of damage. We will place him down. There he goes. There's his, and then we call him away. And there's Ingrid, 775 points of damage as well. Okay, absolutely fantastic. Lovely little boost there, or 759. Okay, so she's had a lovely boost in damage just for him, and he would do that to all mages. So when you have a look at what that means, all mages, these are all the mages, they could be allied, and you can give them a 15% boost. Now he does that attack 5 times. He can do it. So, and it goes on, it's repeated every 5 seconds, that's 25, and then you've got the 8 seconds at the end, so you've got another 3 seconds. You've got 28 seconds where you could increase all of these mages' DPS by 15%. I mean, you wouldn't get them all done, but theoretically that's something you can consider to do if you have him at A1. I really do like the A1, okay? Right. The other thing to be aware of, World Destroyer mode. A mode focused if carrying out at least 1 dark spawn, consumes 1 dark spore, deals a load of damage to up to 10 enemies in a large area ahead. Right. A bit vague, so we will give it a try and see what happens. Okay, so we're into arena. Now, we can let the mobs come round, we can put him down there, and we are ready to go. Now all we've got to do is actually wait until we can get a Sun Wukong out. We can put Sun Wukong out, we can kill these mobs off, and then we can trigger him off, and we can then see when the fresh mobs come out just how far it is for him to go. Now you can see we're all purple, so we're now in Devourer mode. Okay, get that crystal, get those killed off, and then we can transfer over into Destroyer mode. So there's the last one being gone there. Get rid of Sun Wukong, change ourselves over to Destroyer mode. I can sit back a little bit and be out of the way. Here he is transferring over. Okay, there he goes. He's now all red, and this is the extended range. It is all the way out there. Okay, that is the large range ahead. Okay, you have the area of effect it shows, and then there is 2 tiles past what he normally says. Look, boom, all the way out. There you go. Just so you're aware, and it says large area ahead. That's what the large area is, all right? So it's a lovely AoE hit. Absolutely fantastic, right? Now, the other thing that we want to be concerned at or know about is if we're using him, how are we going to use him? Okay, so when you've got him on the battlefield, when he's in this devour mode, he is devouring summoned creatures. Now you might want to keep the summoned creatures, so you might want to be aware of who he's taking or eating and who he's not. So there we go, we've used up everything from our destroyer mode because we're red. We're now going into purple, so we're in our devour mode. We're waiting up here until such time as we can trigger one of these effects, and then we will chuck up in a different attack. Then we start getting our spawns back. Right, we are gathering up our dark spawns. That's great for us, but we were taking Sun Wukong's clones to do it. Got to be aware of the people he can take from. So Sun Wukong's clones there, he was happily schnaffling and devouring. So there we go, clone came out and he had it straight away. Straight away he had the clone out. Now he's full, the clones actually stay. So if we transfer him over, he will use up one of these, fine. And then we get rid of, or if we got rid of him or we transferred him over, he would take one of Sun Wukong's clones, okay? That's how he works. Now we're still in Devourer mode, so we will come back, we boom, Destroyer mode, there we are, red wings, we will use up all of our dark spawns, there they are, all used up. And now if we transfer him over, we will see that we can start schnaffling people again. Okay, there we are, taken, and now if we use her as well, let's get rid of Sun Wukong out of the way. And now if we use him there we go, That's another one of his dark spawns gone. That's absolutely fine. We use the others and then we can trigger hers and see if hers gets taken as well. It's important to know, particularly with people like Ardea, if you're going to use or take her clone, because her clone does a great deal of work for you and does a lot of damage. If you're using them together, you might want to make sure that, here we go, so he's in devourer mode, there's her spawn and he's taking it, bang, it did no damage. Okay, so just be aware of what mode you've got him in if you're using him for other people. Okay, there's an aura up there, there's her dragon, he's in attack mode at the moment, so he's in destroy mode. We're swapping him over, he's in devourer mode at the moment. Get rid of her, and Nora's dragon is going to stay. That's absolutely fine. He will not snaffle her dragon. That's going to stay there for all eternity for you. Okay, no issues whatsoever. But if you were in Matrix, for example, and you were using Cyrus and you were using his clones to keep him alive, to stay away from that fatal strike, excuse me, he is going to eat those clones if they're in range. So be aware, if you're thinking of Matrix, make sure that your tank and possibly your DPS stay out of the way of each other, so you're not eating his clones, okay? Because you'll want Cyrus to be using those clones to avoid the fatal damage, but if someone's eaten them, then your tank all of a sudden dies and your run will go wrong. Okay, so there we go. So that's him and how he works. Okay, just a quick check. Talent specializes in draining life force. Dark spores stack up to 5 times. We've seen those. Grants immunity to most debuffs. We don't know which ones. World destroyer mode, we've seen that. Does the big attack in front of him, up to 10 enemies, and we're aware that it's 2 tiles past the area of effect it does actually show. Okay, when we come down, we've got AoE damage. There we go. There's our range. We can do up to 120%. Diner, we're aware of this mode. It goes on for 8 seconds. It's done every 5 seconds, but we can get this up to plus 25%. And we can get the execute threshold to 30%. But we can only use this passive going off if we have a dark spawn. No dark spawn, no world destroyer passive. And the same goes for this one as well. Okay, you need a dark spawn to be carrying the attack and damage reduction, but when you transfer over into world devourer mode, if you are not going to kill one of the enemies due to their HP being low, or you're not going to take a summoned mob from one of your allies or from the cultist faction, then you're not going to get this triggered either. You're just going to be there doing your basic attack. So we're aware of that. The ultimate transfers us over. We're aware of that as well. Happy days. And we're aware just how good he is as a lord. Awakenings, A1, World Destroyer mode, yeah. Special trigger, AoE by 15% for all mages, yes, fine. A2, AoE 5%, 300 attack, yeah. Enhance, every 2 triggers of World Devourer mode, effect grants an extra 1 stack of Dark Spawn, okay. So he's going to, you would at A3, you would be able to swap him around a bit and get a free Dark Spawn. A4 is the penetration, and then A5, World Destroyer mode, special attack, ignores 25% magic resistance, but you can get that from Elise anyway, okay? There you go. That is the new Lord. That's how he works. Looks like a lot of fun. Looks really good. I wouldn't put him into a faction trial team yet, because the faction trials, cultists are getting brought down anyway, so we'll see what it's like next week after that's happened. That's happening on globals, on the Forerunner, sorry, not global, so bear that in mind. And this is only from the test server as well, okay? So there are changes that may happen prior to this going live, okay? So bear that in mind as well. All right, thank you very much for your time. If you could leave me the old thumbs up, like and subscribe, would help me out massively, and I'll see you all in the video again soon. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers. Bye.